So a lot of these Flipboard killers copied kind of Flipboard circa 2010.
Right.
They copied the social. They copied the kind of feed reader, like Google Reader, but but mobile element. They copied like the relationships with big established publishers. But a year and a half ago, you did something that was really hard to copy. You unleashed these tools for creating magazines on your millions of users.
Yeah.
And well, I think you told me recently it's about maybe 7%, single-digit percentage of your users actually take the initiative to create a magazine. But that still resulted in 10 million magazines. It's
right.
A lot of kind of collections of content.
Right.
And that's happened in under a year and a half.
Yeah.
So you now have this kind of moat like YouTube or Pinterest in
we're getting there.
In these user collections.
Yeah.
What do those magazines actually look like? Are they like my Ramona the Love Terrier magazine, just kind of something, something I don't really expect anyone to read, just something I do for fun? Or
yeah, there are so many different magazines out there, and I love how deep they go. We have found there's generally about 5 different kinds of magazines that people create on Flipboard. There are the collections. So, for example, there's a magazine for kale smoothies. All is about kale smoothie recipes. And it turns out there's a lot of ways to make kale smoothies. And so there's a magazine. In fact, there are many magazines about kale smoothies if you search for that on Flipboard. It's crazy. And so people do these collections for their own personal, it's like they're collecting, recipes for a paleo diet, or they're collecting, places that they want to visit, books that they might want to read. So that's one category. The other one is tribal, right? So, for example, there's a group of people, there's this unknown cult, maybe some of you actually belong to this cult, of people who like to go and visit modern ruins, So, for example, all those cool ships that are out there docked in the bay, those old ships from like the Cold War era, people like to sneak on those ships and like take all sorts of cool pictures and of these modern ruins. And there's a magazine called Modern Ruins Magazine that's really popular on Flipboard. That's just filled with great, amazing pictures of these modern ruins.
I mean, you never see on a print newsstand. I mean, who would
right.
show that?
And that's too niche now.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of magazines, right? Is that I mean, if the economic model were more sustainable right now, you'd have a Modern Ruins magazine.
Yeah.
But it's just hard for that to exist. You got to pay for the printing and the cost of all of the distribution. But the other kind of magazine that we have is news-related magazines, right? So, what's going on in the Ukraine right now, or Syria, or more sort of topical news like what's going on with immigration or marriage equality, or those kinds of issues. We have other magazines that are event-oriented, right? So when Steve Jobs died, when Robin Williams died, people created tribute magazines, all the best stuff, the best content, best pictures about about Robin Williams, all the YouTube videos of Steve Jobs' speeches. And then we have magazines that are more utilitarian. So they're like portfolios, real estate homes that you represent. You're a teacher, and the classwork that you want to have your students read, articles you want your students to read about. We have a great company called Aquascapes, and they on Flipboard, and they have this awesome magazine just of like backyard ponds and landscaping work that they've done. And it's so cool, and they're so enthusiastic about this ability to sort of pull together this great content, get it out to an audience. And so we have these different kinds of magazines that users have created, and it's just accelerating.